Hey everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. You know how much we love to, take these deep dives into all sorts of fascinating health topics.
Absolutely.
And today we're going to be looking at the idea of complements in health.
Ooh, compliments.
Yeah, and this has a double meaning.
Okay.
First, we're going to be talking about your body's own complement system. And this is like this internal defense force that most people don't even know they have.
Right.
Then we're going to switch gears and talk about complementary therapies like acupuncture and meditation that work alongside conventional medicine.
Okay, cool.
So are you ready to dive in?
I am ready. Let's do it.
All right. So let's start with that complement system.
Okay.
I've been reading up on this, and it's amazing. It's a network of over 50 proteins all working together to protect you.
It is fascinating. It really is like a well-oiled machine that's constantly working to keep us healthy.
50 proteins?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's a lot. That sounds pretty complicated.
It is. It's very intricate.
Yeah.
But I think a good way to think about it is like a domino effect. Okay.
So when a threat enters your body, like a bacteria or a virus,
Mm-hmm.
it triggers one protein,
Okay.
and then that protein activates another protein,
Okay.
and so on and so forth.
So it's like this chain reaction.
Exactly, like a cascade.
Wow. So it's not just like a simple boost your immune system kind of thing.
No, it's much more targeted than that.
Okay.
Each protein has a specific role to play in defending you.
So, like, what are some of the things that these proteins actually do?
Well, some of them act as direct attackers.
Okay.
They basically punch holes in the cell walls of bacteria to destroy them.
Oh, wow.
Others act as signal flares, calling in reinforcements from other parts of the immune system.
Right.
And then some act as the cleanup crew, making sure that any damaged cells are cleared away
Okay.
so that you don't have chronic inflammation.
So it's like this whole coordinated effort to fight off anything that could harm us.
Precisely. That's incredible.
Oh.
I mean, you never really think about all this stuff going on inside your body all the time.
Right. It's really quite remarkable.
Yeah, it really is.
And, it makes you realize just how important it is to keep that system functioning properly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of keeping it functioning properly, I was reading that if there are deficiencies in this complement system, it can lead to some pretty serious health problems.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, what kinds of problems are we talking about?
Well, if any of those proteins in the cascade are missing,
Uh-huh.
or if they're not functioning properly,
You okay?
it can make you more susceptible to infections.
Yeah.
It can also increase your risk for certain autoimmune disorders.
That's where the body starts attacking itself.
Right, exactly.
Oh, wow. So this is really important stuff.
It is.
So, knowing all of this, what can we do to support our complement system? I mean, obviously, we all know the basics like getting enough sleep and washing our hands and things like that.
Right.
But is there more to it than that?
There is. One thing that's really important is making sure you're getting enough antioxidants.
Antioxidants.
Yeah.
Why are those important?
Well, they help to protect those complement proteins from damage.
Oh, okay, I see.
So they basically act like little shields.
So eating lots of fruits and vegetables?
Exactly. Things like berries and leafy greens and
Huh.
all those colorful foods.
So it's not just about getting our vitamins, it's about protecting our complement system, too.
Exactly.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So we've got our internal defenses covered.
Uh-huh.
But I want to shift gears a little bit now and talk about the other side of complements,
Okay.
those therapies that work alongside traditional medicine.
Right.
So what exactly do we mean by complementary therapies?
Well, complementary therapies are basically practices that are used to enhance well-being.
Okay.
They often focus on things that traditional medicine might not address directly.
Like what kinds of things?
Things like stress management,
Okay.
emotional well-being, lifestyle factors.
So it's about taking a more holistic approach to health.
Exactly.
So these therapies aren't meant to replace conventional medicine.
Right.
They're meant to work in conjunction with it.
Exactly. They complement it.
Right.
That's where the term comes from.
So instead of just treating a specific symptom, it's about addressing the underlying causes and looking at the individual as a whole.
Precisely.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's about treating the whole person,
The whole person.
mind, body, and spirit.
Now, you mentioned that traditional medicine might not address certain things directly.
Right.
Can you give me an example of that?
Sure. For example, research has shown that chronic stress can actually suppress the activity of certain immune cells,
Really?
including some of those involved in the complement cascade.
So even if our complement system is in great shape,
Right.
stress can still mess things up.
Exactly. It can weaken our defenses.
Wow, that's pretty significant.
It is.
So addressing stress is really important for overall health.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've got our internal defenses and we've got stress management. What are some other examples of complementary therapies that people might want to explore?
Well, there's a wide range. You've got things like acupuncture, meditation,
Okay.
nutritional therapy.
So there's a lot of variety.
There is.
And I imagine each therapy has its own unique benefits and considerations.
Exactly.
This is all really fascinating.
And it is.
But I think we've covered a lot of ground already.
Yeah, we have.
So in the next part of our deep dive, let's delve a little deeper into some of these specific complementary therapies
That's good.
and discuss their potential benefits and considerations.
All right.
So stick with us. All right, so we're back and ready to dig a little deeper into some of these complementary therapies.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about some specifics.
Me too.
Yeah.
So where should we start? I think acupuncture is something that a lot of people are curious about.
Okay. Yeah,
I
acupuncture.
think it's one of those therapies that's been around forever.
Right, thousands of years.
But I think a lot of people are like me and kind of hesitant to try it.
Yeah, I get that. It can seem a little mysterious.
Yeah, needles and all.
Right.
So can you break it down for us? Like, what exactly is acupuncture?
Sure. So acupuncture is a practice that originated in traditional Chinese medicine.
Okay.
And it involves inserting very fine needles into specific points along the body's meridians.
Meridians.
Yeah, these are basically channels of energy flow,
Energy flow.
according to Chinese medicine.
Okay, so there's a system to it. It's not just random needle poking.
Oh, definitely not. The placement of those needles is very precise.
Okay.
And the idea is that by stimulating these points, you can help to restore balance and harmony within the body's energy system.
Okay, see.
And that in turn can promote healing and well-being.
But how does that actually work? Like, does sticking needles in your skin really help with things like pain or stress?
Well, that's a great question. And it's one that researchers have been investigating for decades. The exact mechanisms are still being explored.
Okay.
But we do know that acupuncture can trigger the release of endorphins.
Endorphins.
Our body's natural pain relievers.
Okay.
It can also modulate the activity of the nervous system.
So it's not just a placebo effect.
No, there's definitely real physiological activity happening.
And what kinds of conditions has acupuncture been shown to be helpful for?
Well, there's a pretty wide range.
Okay.
Studies have shown that it can be effective for chronic pain,
Okay.
migraines, anxiety, insomnia.
That's pretty impressive. It makes you wonder why it's not more widely integrated into conventional healthcare.
Yeah, it's a good question. And there are probably a lot of factors involved.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, there are cultural beliefs.
Okay.
There are also regulatory hurdles.
Right.
And then there's also the need for more standardized training and certification for practitioners.
That makes sense.
But I do think that as research continues to accumulate and as more people experience the potential benefits firsthand, we'll see a shift towards greater acceptance and integration.
I hope so. Okay, acupuncture is officially on my list to explore.
All right.
What about meditation? It seems like everyone's talking about meditation these days.
It's definitely having a moment.
Yeah, but I have to admit, I'm not sure I fully grasp what it's all about.
Well, at its core, meditation is really just a practice of training the mind
Okay.
to be more present and focused.
So quieting the mental chatter,
Exactly.
cultivating a sense of inner stillness.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But how do you actually do that?
Well, there are a lot of different techniques.
Okay.
Some people focus on their breath.
Mm-hmm.
Some people repeat a mantra.
Okay.
And some people just observe their thoughts and sensations without judgment.
So it's about finding what works for you.
Exactly.
And what are the benefits of doing all this?
Well, one of the most well-known benefits is stress reduction.
Okay.
Meditation has been shown to calm the nervous system and lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol.
Cortisol, that's the stress hormone, right?
Right.
And lowering cortisol is a good thing.
It is. It can help to reduce anxiety,
Okay.
improve sleep quality, and just generally create a sense of peace and ease.
We could all use a little more of that.
I agree.
But are there benefits beyond stress reduction?
Oh, absolutely. Meditation has also been linked to improvements in emotional regulation,
Okay.
focus, and concentration,
Uh-huh.
and even cardiovascular health.
Really?
Yeah,
So this is serious stuff.
it is.
But what's the science behind it? Like, how does simply sitting and focusing your mind actually lead to all these changes?
Well, neuroscience research has shown that meditation can actually alter the structure and function of the brain over time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. For example, studies have found that regular meditators have increased gray matter in areas of the brain associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness.
So it's like a mental workout.
That's a great way to think about it.
Okay, meditation is officially moving up on my list.
Awesome.
Now let's talk about nutritional therapy.
Okay.
I've heard it described as food as medicine,
Yeah.
but what does that actually mean in practice?
Well, nutritional therapy is really about recognizing the profound impact that food has on our health and well-being.
Mhm.
It's about working with a qualified practitioner to assess your individual nutritional needs
Yeah.
and make targeted dietary changes.
So it's more than just following general dietary guidelines.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about personalizing your approach
Okay,
based on your unique biochemistry
Okay.
and health goals.
that makes sense. So how would that work in practice? Like, what are some examples of how nutritional therapy might be used?
Well, it can be helpful for a wide range of conditions,
Okay.
from digestive issues and food sensitivities to chronic inflammation and autoimmune disorders.
So it's about addressing the root cause of the problem.
Exactly.
Rather than just masking the symptoms.
And that's a key principle of nutritional therapy, working with the body's natural healing mechanisms
Okay.
to promote long-term health and well-being.
This is all starting to paint a much clearer picture for me. But before I run out and sign up for every therapy under the sun, are there any words of caution? Like, what are some things that people should keep in mind before diving into these complementary approaches?
That's a really important question. And the main thing I would say is just to approach it all with a balanced perspective.
Okay.
Consider both the benefits and the potential risks.
So don't just jump on the latest wellness bandwagon
Exactly.
without doing your research.
It's essential to do your due diligence, just like you would with any healthcare decision.
So what are some key things people should look for when choosing a practitioner or therapy?
Well, first and foremost, I would always recommend consulting with your primary healthcare provider.
Okay.
Just to make sure that there are no potential interactions with any medications you might be taking
Right.
or any contraindications based on your health history.
Okay, that's good advice.
And then I would say research the specific therapy and the credentials of the practitioner.
So look for someone who's licensed and experienced.
Exactly.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Oh, absolutely. Ask about their training, their approach, their success rates. Be an informed consumer.
Be an informed consumer. I like that.
Sure.
Okay, so we've talked about acupuncture, meditation, and nutritional therapy.
Right.
And this has all been incredibly helpful. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how all of this ties back to the complement system that we talked about earlier.
Oh, that's a good question.
Is there a connection between these internal and external approaches to well-being?
I think there definitely is. On one hand, you have this amazing internal defense system, the complement cascade,
Right.
that's constantly working to protect us from threats.
Yeah, like our own little microscopic army,
Exactly.
always on guard.
And then on the other hand, we have these external approaches, complementary therapies,
Right.
that we can choose to incorporate into our lives
Okay.
to further support our well-being.
So it's like we're providing reinforcements for that internal army.
And by taking care of ourselves in these ways, we're creating an environment where our complement system can really thrive.
Okay, I love that. So
Yeah.
this beautiful interplay between what's happening inside of us and the choices that we make in our lives.
I think so. And it really highlights the fact that we have a lot more control over our health than we often realize.
That's empowering.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've explored this incredible internal system, our complement system.
Right, our microscopic army.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've delved into all these complementary therapies practices that work alongside conventional medicine. But, what's really sticking with me is this idea of collaboration.
Oh, absolutely.
Both types of complements are all about working together.
It really is like a symphony,
A symphony.
Yeah, like all these different instruments, each with their unique sound, coming together to create this harmonious, powerful whole.
And that's what we're doing with our health, right?
Exactly.
Bringing together different approaches to amplify our well-being.
So we have our complement system constantly on patrol,
Right.
neutralizing threats.
Keeping everything in balance.
Yes. And then, through our choices,
Yeah.
we can incorporate these complementary therapies,
To support those efforts even more.
like providing reinforcements for that internal army.
Exactly. So, for instance, we talked about chronic stress
Right.
and how it can suppress immune function.
Absolutely.
But if we practice meditation
Uh-huh.
or engage in stress-reducing activities, we can actually create an environment where our complement system can thrive.
Exactly.
And then, on the flip side,
Yeah.
if we nourish our bodies with nutrient-rich foods,
Uh-huh.
we're giving those complement proteins,
Yes.
the building blocks,
Yeah,
they need to function optimally.
exactly. It's like,
It's amazing.
it is.
This back and forth, this
Yeah.
interplay between our internal systems and the choices that we make.
It's powerful.
It really is.
It gives us so much more control over our health.
Than we often realize.
Yeah.
Well, this has been eye-opening.
They've
This
re-
whole conversation.
Yeah.
It's given me a new understanding of how our bodies work and how much power we have to influence our health.
I hope our listeners are feeling inspired
Oh, me too.
to explore all of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, to our amazing listeners,
Yes.
thank you for joining us on this deep dive
Absolutely.
into this fascinating world of complements in health.
It's been a pleasure.
Keep learning
Keep exploring.
and keep those complements flowing.
Yes, both within you and around you.
Until next time.
Stay curious and be well.